Hey guys, today we are going to bust some of the most common myths that the general public has about buying, some selling, but really just about the real estate industry as a whole.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, guys.
So, with all the recent news that's come out about NAR, the general public have had a lot to say about the real estate industry. It seems they're all very well knowledge, or at least they think they are.
Well-versed.
And a lot of the things that we've heard and read, not so true. So we are here to take a look at some of these statements and facts and sort of give our insight into how they're going. So first one, pretty common that we think anyway, but still not a lot of people realize, is that you don't need 20% down when you're buying a house.
We touched on this in another video that we did too as well, but I still think this is such a just prevalent myth that just everybody I talk to, how many people my age I talk to, like, yeah, but I don't have 20% down. Like,
it was definitely a thing that was done sort of about previous generation, but we still buyers now who are like, oh, how much should I be putting down? Is it 10, 20%? We tell them, no, you just do like 3 to 5%. I think the average is like just over 5%.
5.5%.
And they just look confused. And I'm like, yeah, no,
it does not take as much.
Granted, if you put 20% down, you're going to be saving a lot more money on your monthly payment. But,
correct.
You know, it's a lot easier for people to buy homes with regards to the down payment. Yes, the interest rates make it more difficult, but the avenues are there with the sort of the lower rates that are expected at the minute.
Absolutely. All right, second one, my favorite. This one I've seen all over the internet.
I'm sitting like this. We probably should. I probably shouldn't have been sitting like this.
I see this one all the time.
This is how entertaining it is.
Yeah, real estate. It's easy money. You know, all you do is open doors. You just open a door and you make $20,000.
Yeah. Oh, maybe more.
I turned a light on.
That's another $100,000 right there. Wow. You've been doing this for a while.
Expert. So. And guys, I get it. I understand. And I think a lot of this has been brought on in part by people who do this professionally as a career, full-time, hours and hours a week. This is not a normal job. It's not your standard 9 to 5. I get calls at 10 o'clock at night of buyers crying and need a therapy session because they're so stressed out with what's going on. That's a very common part of the job. With that being said, I think a lot of this is kind of twofold. You have part-time agents who think they're just going to get into this and do it. Oh, I'm just going to make some easy money. I watch HGTV, Selling Sunset. Look, that's so much fun. Look how that's all they do. So you have those people who don't take it seriously. It's not a career for them. They just do it part-time, so they don't really know how to do the job effectively. But then I think on the other extreme, you have the people who do this as a career. And the last 10, 20 years, I've been doing this now for 15 years, we have spent the last 15 years trying to make this as professional and career focused as possible. And for that, and by that what we mean is, I want this transaction to be as seamless as possible from the client side of things. So if at the closing table, you go, well, yeah, that was easy. Nothing. It's like, great. That's what I want. That's the experience I want you to have. But with that being said, it's almost, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot where it's so easy from the client side of things that I'm not keeping you up to date with the calls to the lender, to the title company, to the listing agent, talking to my buyers late at night over whatever therapy session that has to be done, and talking both of them together because now they're arguing about decisions they made on a house, and it's like, okay guys, let's sit down and let's talk about it and figure that out. But doing all those things and maybe not giving them a checklist of all the activities that go on behind the scenes. We have a full-time transaction coordinator who handles everything contract to close, and he is on the phone with title every day, with insurance, making sure your homeowner's insurance is getting filed properly, with the lender, making sure everything is going through smoothly from that end. So ideally, you're right. It should be seamless. You shouldn't have to handle anything on your own. There's going to be items, obviously, that you have to. But I think, again, that has made it a little bit of this, well, realtors don't do what you think.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is, like, a lot of people don't really know all that much about real estate transactions. They read the contracts that they're given, they read the forms that they sign, but there's just a lot of things that really don't need to talk to them about because it's all done on the back end and they don't have to really worry about it too much. I mean, if you want to know those things, ask those questions, we'll tell you, but you don't want to be bored to death with every single line of every single form. If you don't have to be like, if it involves you, then yes, we will always explain it and show you and make it as transparent as possible.
Any dollar value item. Like it's something that's a repair, or hey, something came up and now this has to be done. They're changing, your closing disclosure, and there's going to be more money needing to be brought to close, or less money. Obviously, that's something that you're involved in. But on the hey, survey came up and there's an issue with survey, that's me on the phone calling title going, hey guys, how do we get this solved? Okay, we need to get you need a survey out there to get a new survey. Let's get it ordered. Let's get it done. That's not things that I'm going to then call you and be like, oh, hey, fire, 911, the survey. It's like,
if we don't need to stress you out about something we're not going to, that's the whole point, is we'll deal with what we can do on the back end so that you don't feel stressed. If we tell you something is needing to be fixed that we can fix,
if it can be handled without you being involved in it, we're going to try to do that. Yeah. That's the whole idea of why you hire a professional, is to handle the things that we can handle so that you don't have to. All right, number 3, the next one, and I get this with working on the buy side of the business. I get this a lot, and it's something that I totally understand. The expression that I like to use with buyers is you can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. It's coming in crazy low on offers. You want to get the best deal you can. I want you to get the best deal that you can. If we can save you money, I'm all for it. I'm going to fight for you to get the best deal you can. That being said, real estate is a very emotional transaction. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. For most people, it's the largest financial investment that they own. So for most people, this is a large chunk of money. It's almost all of most people's savings. That being said, people cannot remove the emotion from that of, they watch their kids take their first steps in the living room, or they have memories of Christmas. There's with the Christmas tree. They have a hard time removing those items from that transaction. So when you come in and you offer something way under list price, I have had buyers who have done that, and I've had the listing or the seller come back and basically tell me to kick rocks. It is my fiduciary duty to my client that I have to present any offer that they ask me to present, even if I advise them not to. The seller, basically, he used other terms. The listing agent told me in less polite means.
Oh, that's a word.
Yeah. To piss off would be a nice way to put it, as you guys would say across the pond.
Yeah.
And they didn't counterback it. Just said no. Nope, didn't respond to it. We came up and they still just, no.
There's an art to negotiations. You have to have some level of faith in us that we've been doing this long enough to sort of have a good idea of 1, what the home is worth, 2, what would be a good starting point, and then 3, not to, again, do such a poor job of an off price that it's going to offend the seller. The one thing I would love to be able to say to buyers, which we really can't because, practice, is if it was on the other foot, would you want somebody to offer you 20-30% less on your home? And how would you think? How would you feel if someone said, hey, your house is worth $400,000, I'll give you 3? You would literally, why would you take that? So why would you then offer someone else? You have to kind of put yourself in their shoes and think, what would make sense? What would I do? But we can't say that because then they get pissy.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Nope. And last up, we have new builds. So a lot of people believe that if it's just a new build and you can go to the builder yourselves, you don't need representation. And
I save the 3%.
Yeah, that can cause a lot of issues, not just within the contract, but with everything else going forward as well. So I actually have a couple of posts that I found recently. People were talking about it after the NAR news. But this was from one builder who said he'd worked in the industry since 2009 and said it should be illegal for a developer to sell directly to the public. This is someone who sold a lot of units, as you'll see, and basically goes on to list all of the different reasons why builders take advantage of unrepresented buyers. Basically because they don't know enough and they can get away with a lot of things, then they won't catch them. And then there's one more, which we'll post here as well. And this was somebody who averages about 50 houses flipped a year. He says, and I quote, "I don't think it'll change much, but it'd be great for our business if it resulted in less buyers using agents. The unrepresented buyer will get absolutely smoked and they'll have no idea."
No, and I think that's the general public, and especially with Zillow and Realtor and having the internet, just like with a lot of topics, I think people know just enough to get themselves in trouble. And I think you see this across the board in any sort of area of expertise where you have people who become scientists overnight when it comes to certain topics, or they know everything. The earth is flat. Go talk to some people who are flat earthers. It blows my mind. But the general public, you can do enough research that can almost get you in trouble where you're like, oh, I know what the house is worth. I'll just go do this. And it's like, not all agents are good people, just like any industry. There's not all attorneys are good people, not all car salesmen are good people, not all dentists, not all doctors. Like, I know personally some agents that work here in the area, they don't really practice much anymore, but would happily fleece a buyer if they were unrepresented, because they know how to do it, because they know the contracts, they know where they could put the hidden fees. Like, and if you don't work those contracts regularly, you're not going to understand that process. And this is where hiring somebody that has your best interest in mind, we are there to protect you.
Yeah.
That's my goal at the end of the day. I work with buyers that I got paid nothing on. I still work the contract for them because at the end of the day, I want them to get a house. So find the right people. I can't stress that enough. Like, it's super helpful. So guys, if you guys like this content, as always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Yeah.